Well, good morning. This is Teacher Terry, and just to bring you a little bit of update, there is a particular company out here that has been totally evasive. Now, I'm not going to name this company, but I want to show you what can happen. You see, as I used my example yesterday, in which I explained how in this particular area, you have many students coming in, a lot of students coming in, and they're mixing with this teacher pool. Now, these teachers are actually having a good time. They're making a lot of money. What they do now is, because they're making good money, the company starts saying, refer, bring in more teachers, we have more students. Now, they may or may not, but what happens is you start to refer these teachers. They enter into this student pool, and they're mixing up here with it too. It's kind of like oil and the oil thing. Now, as there become too many teachers, a lot of these teachers start to shift to the bottom. They're coming down. Now, the pressure at the top is so heavy that as these begin to push down, what they're expecting you to do is to establish your own clients, your own people calling you specifically for you, trying to get your regulars up. Now, you may get a lot of regulars, and they may want you, but they're in groups. Maybe they're wanting one-on-ones to make more money. I don't know. But anyway, the teacher pool gets so heavy, a lot of the teachers don't get enough classes, and they start to settle down here, getting one or two crumbs from the table. Eventually, they become disillusioned. They get so few that they settle to the bottom. Now, what happens is this. As more teachers are entering into the queue and coming up here mixing, and more teachers are slowly coming down, the pressure of the whole system starts to push. And when it does, because of the level of it's pushing you out. So, in other words, up here at the top, those teachers at the bottom start falling out. They're recycling. But over here on this side, all of these students are paying money, and that green is floating right up. It goes through the gross, up to the net, and right into the pockets of the company. They don't really care about you. Now, this is the nature of the beast. You can survive and probably be a great teacher. There's a lot of teachers that's been in here for years. What have they done to stay there? Now, this is what you have to ask yourself. Because if you take into consideration there's way too many teachers, but yet they keep pushing for this referral in here, what they're doing is bringing in more, cycling you through. It's forcing you down. Now, how does it force you down? It's very simple. The company is filling these teachers. The new teachers that come in, they're being filled with new students. They're being filled. Their schedules are being full. They're doing a rack-up job. Now, one company that I personally worked for, the first month, I actually did 187 classes, and I was in the top 7% of the company. In fact, I was number 48. The very next month, first week I was rocking the same. Second week it came down a little. The next week, right after that, I had one class. The week after that, I had 2 classes. And then I complained about it, and I asked them, I said, hey, what's going on? And that next week, I got 1 more class. And the very next day, I got 3. And what are their excuses? Oh, it's an IT problem. It's an IT problem. But yet my students are telling me they can see my classes. They can see my availability, but they can't click on it. But when I go to my boss and I say, hey, what's going on? My students, suddenly, bam, I get 2 more. See, they do control this, in my opinion. And what happens is they're feeding these new teachers, trying to get these new teachers to solidify one-on-one groupings. But they're still saying refer, refer, refer. There's plenty of students to keep everybody full. Plenty of students. Now, this is on the, let me see here. Let me do my thinking. Normally I was off on one day. So this is in the 5th day now. I opened up an earlier class, forcing myself to see what the earlier class would do. And I've gotten 1, the very first. So that means I'm sitting in line all day waiting on another class. I'm actually sitting there waiting. Because in this particular instance, all those subjects today, all those classes today are open. Therefore, if I'm not sitting there and they've turned a certain color and I cancel them, I get fined 10 RMB, even though there's not going to be any classes. So that means I'm going to be sitting here from 9 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, checking every 30 minutes, because students can book up to 30 minutes in advance. Then that gives you another hour and a half, but in 1 more hour you have to check again. Keeps you from going anywhere, keeps you from doing anything. You can't cancel that class, so you become a slave to your chair. You're not getting paid for that downtime. And it's an IT problem, but then you're looking over at the chats and you're seeing everybody's got classes. Now, this is actually not just one company. This has happened, and I've observed this in 3 companies. Actually, let's go all the way back. I've seen this happen in the last 4 companies I've worked for. And I don't mind naming one of them, Say ABC, because VIP Kids really screwed the pooch. I'll hate VIP Kids for the rest of my life. I love Say ABC, and ABC was destroyed. VIP Kid destroyed teachers' lives. They destroyed people's occupations. They destroyed people's income. VIP Kid is one of the most evil companies out there, and I'm not kidding you at all. That's the way I feel about them. It's my own personal opinion. I'm just saying what I saw happen. There's a lot of witnesses out there. They destroyed Say ABC, which had a good thing going. Now, daytime company overhired out the wazoo on projection, had way too many teachers, started spreading it out. I was down to 2 classes for this month with them, so I just gave it to somebody else and said, I'm going full-time with this other company, which I did good. But I'm seeing the same thing happen. Man, rocking full schedule 1 month, even making big time, hitting the high, doing great, and then this month, bam, it falls out. But everybody else is getting classes. The other daytime company told me I was too old. The teachers didn't want me. I was too old. Just flat out told me. Cancel them right off the bat. You see, these companies do that to you. And now I'm with one company that I just talked about where I'm falling off. So they have a way of manipulating it. When they say it's the IT program and suddenly you complain and then bam, you've got a couple of classes, that's telling you whoever's your mentor, whoever's your observer, whoever is the one over you, they can immediately plug in the system and give you a class. It's not an AI program. It's up to their whim. There's a hidden policy in there that's telling them exactly to do this. The money's still coming up to the top. That's all they care about, that money. They don't care about this. Sure, they want the teacher in the mix, but they're telling you to keep referring and paying, keep more teachers coming in into that mix. It's going to force them to start holding back on the older teachers, filling those new teachers, giving them false hope. As they start settling out of the older teachers, the old teachers are eventually under pressure in the system. Out. This is one of the things that I'm starting to realize is the Chinese method of business. And they're treating foreign teachers this way. Now, maybe I'm way off, maybe I'm not. Now, I'm presently working with a company. I'm hoping to see a turnaround because I really like them a lot. I really do like them a lot, and I don't mind recommending them. But I have my eyes on them. My eyes is on them because my income has now fallen down to almost a third of what it was last month, just because of this hypothetical idea that I have. Be very aware, people. We're not represented by a union, and it would be impossible to get all of you out here to say, "Oh, we offer you a job." Well, I belong to this Association of Foreign Teachers. Click. China doesn't want a union. China doesn't want affiliation. China wants total control over you. But if everybody out there would start getting their act together and start turning down some of these companies, they might start doing something. But there's way too many teachers out there. Now, some of you looking at this are trying to find a job for the first time online. I'm going to tell you it's a very difficult thing. I love it. I plan on pursuing it for a little bit longer. But bear in mind, they do think this way. You're expendable. There's too many other teachers out there they can get. They offer the moon and take away the moonlight. They don't want old teachers. They'll figure a way to weed you out. They don't want certain kind of educators because they educate, they don't entertain enough. Doesn't keep people entertained. They even have some archaic things. You do 1,000 wonderful lessons, you've got 1,000 perfect scores, and you get 2 complaints, and they cancel your contract. Does that sound fair in the regular civilized world? No, it doesn't. But they don't have to care. Find out all the penalties. Find out, research, Glassdoor. Look at the company you're looking at and look at what their last name was. Many of these companies used to be a bad company that changed their name to a newer company. They come in looking squeaky clean, and then you find out what company they were, and they're doing exactly the same thing that they did in the other company. This is a fact. Now, I'm telling you right now, before you go, this is teacher Terry. Now, I'm not saying all companies are like this, but I am going to make a general statement that I feel like most of them are. Now, I'm waiting to see some light at the rainbow with this one. There's 2 companies here that I presently do work for that I support 100%. I know it's a downtime of the year. I'm waiting and watching, hoping that things improve. But I hope I don't see this similar thing in here. What I have just told you right now has been coming off of reading forums, reading research, reading Glassdoor, reading about other companies with pros and cons, what teachers are saying, putting it all together, shaking it out, and seeing what's left. This is something that I'm noticing. Those of you who aren't doing your research, do it. Because I promise you there's something in here. It seems to be an Asian philosophy of business. That circular motion. Get them in, feed them a whole lot to keep them going. They're happy. Let them refer more teachers, bring them at the bottom, and then that pushes you over the top. They're getting your classes. You fall down, and the next thing you know, you're up, you're out, they're up. They're going to come back around eventually, and they're going to go out. It's a cycle. It's cyclic. Be aware of this. Look at it. Listen. Know before you go. This is Teacher Terry with just a little enlightenment. The cycle of extermination is happening. Or termination, cycle of termination. The hiring cycle towards termination. Think about it.